All right, now in the quick start documentation, if you scroll down, under the C# tab, you can see the code that we need to write in the startup class. So all we have to do is to copy this code and paste it in the configure method before the call to app.useMVC. So copy, back to VS Code, let's go to the startup class and the configure method. So here, before the call to app.useMVC, you're going to paste this code. Now we have a compilation error because this class JWT bearer options is not recognized. So we need to go to the terminal and install a NuGet package. So .NET add package Microsoft.ASP.NET Core.authentication.jwt bearer. Okay? And then .NET restore. All right, now you can see the error is gone away. Beautiful. So now let's see what this code is doing. So here we're creating an options object with two properties. One is authority, which is the party that is generating these authentication tokens. In this case, vigoproject.auth0.com. The other property is audience, and this determines who these tokens are for. So the tokens that this authority issues can only be used by this audience. We cannot take them to a different website. They're not recognized. And then here on this line, we're installing a middleware to verify JSON Web Tokens passed with the request. Now let's go to Features Controller and apply the authorize attribute to this getFeatures action. Let's import the namespace. So with this, when a request comes in, before ASP.NET routes that request to this action, our new middleware kicks in. It looks at the request header, and if we have an authorization header with a valid JSON Web Token, the request will pass through and it will be routed to our getFeatures action. So let's see this in action. Back in Postman, I'm going to send a request to this features endpoint. Note the status of the response, 401, which means unauthorized. So you see, it took literally less than 5 minutes to secure our APIs using Auth0, and with only a few lines of code. Now let me show you how to get a valid JSON Web Token for testing your APIs. So back in Auth0, on the APIs page, here you can see our API, Viga API. The last tab is Test. And if you scroll down, here you can see an example of a valid JSON Web Token. Now don't double click this because you can see the entire text is not copied. So on the right side, here we have this button, Copy Token. So copy this. Now back in Postman, in the Headers tab, we need to add an authorization header. So the key is authorization, and the value is bearer space, and here we paste our JSON Web Token, like this. Note that there are no double quotes. Okay, now tab, and call the API again, and we got a 200 response. Beautiful. Now back here, I want to remove this authorize attribute because this was purely for demonstration. This endpoint should be accessible to everyone. We want to protect creating, updating, and deleting vehicles. So let's go to Vehicles Controller. Here's a create vehicle action. We apply the authorize attribute. And of course, import the namespace. I copy this. Let's go to update vehicle. And finally, delete vehicle. Like this. Next, we're going to inspect a JSON Web Token in detail.